Gut, schönen guten Nachmittag, sehr verehrtes Publikum, liebe Gäste, dear international guests. How's everyone doing? Nice. You'll be doing a lot better in a few seconds because you're about to meet and witness up close and personal a global icon. She's an incredible actress, she's an activist, she's a mother of two wonderful sons, and we're just proud and glad that she's here in Zurich. Everyone, please give her a warm round of Swiss applause. Pamela Anderson. Pamela, welcome to the ZFF Masters. Nice to meet you too. Here's your microphone.
Hello, everyone. Woo!
Take a seat in these comfortable seats.
Yeah, this is nice.
We have to watch out that we don't get too comfortable here.
Yeah, fall asleep.
How are you, Pamela, today?
I'm great. It's lovely to be in Zurich. I love it here.
It's really an honor to have you here, not just because you're presenting such a wonderful film, The Last Showgirl. Who has seen The Last Showgirl? Ah, look at you.
Nice.
Nice. Yesterday was the German-speaking premiere here in Europe. I've seen it as well. It's a wonderful film. We'll be talking about it as well. And also, of course, congratulations for receiving the Golden Eye Award for your performance. Yeah. This award is recognition for your performance, so it means a lot to us. I hope to you as well. How was last night? How would you sum up last night, and how did you feel in waking up this morning to all of this?
Well, it's very surreal. It's very exciting. You know, I never thought that I'd be on a stage receiving an award like that, so it's all very overwhelming and wonderful. And I just want to keep working, do more.
Yes.
I'm inspired to do more, so... It's exciting when you get, you know, when people, sometimes you need that encouragement and you never really, you just do the best you can and then hope people love it. So I'm really happy that it's resonating and people like the film.
Yeah, sometimes you just need these kind of milestones and defining moments to get on a certain path again, and you are on a great path, and you're already doing new projects, and I'm not going to start with what I want to end with what's happening after this film. We'll get to that a little bit later on. And will definitely dive quite a bit deeper into this film, because I think we all want to talk about it, about this stellar performance. But of course, we have 1 hour to talk a little bit about you as well and your life. We're not going to go into all the, you know, hoo-ha of the past, because I think a lot of that has been said and done, and it's not important. But let's talk a little bit about your youth, because you grew up in Canada, in British Columbia, in a small town. Tell us a bit about those early years and how that kind of shaped you as Pamela, both on and off screen.
Well, I was a little mischievous child. I had a lot of imagination, and I don't know, I had a wonderful grandfather who taught me a lot about mythology and fairy tales, and so he really encouraged my imagination. He's Finnish. I spoke Finnish when I was young. I couldn't tell you a word now, but I spoke till I was 11 with my grandfather when he passed. But he had a huge influence on me and made me realize that you're not just an extension of your parents or the small town you grew up in, that you're a brand new light given to the planet to do whatever you want with. And your life is a currency, spend it how you want to. So he had these great, you know, messages for me, and it really just stuck with me.
And what dreams did you have as a young girl? Like, did you always have a dream of being in the show business, or what was your?
No, I mean, I thought show business people had show business kids, and that just stayed in the family. And you know, I'd never been on a plane before I moved to Los Angeles, and I just wanted to work with animals. I had a real affinity with animals since I was young. My father's sister, my Auntie Marlene, was deaf, and she had this affinity, like a Pied Piper, with feral cats, and I always thought she had this special language, and so I always was curious how she had such a connection to animals, and that drew me to animals as well, and that's where that started.
As we all know, you had your big break with modeling for,
I don't know if you call it modeling.
I thought it's a photo shoot, just defines how much clothes you have on, but no, it was a defining moment, and how did it all come about, and more importantly, how exciting were those days moving to Los Angeles? First time on a plane, getting to LA, getting to the Playboy Mansion, and then being surrounded by all these people. Just tell us a little bit about how exciting it was.
Well, it was exciting and scary at the same time. I left Canada to go to America. They stopped me at the border and said I couldn't come to America because I, of course, told everybody everything. Anytime anybody asked, I told the truth. I'm going there to work, and they said, oh, well, you can't. So then I took a bus, crossed the border, got to Seattle, took a plane to Los Angeles, and but I guess what you're getting at too is I went to this football game, and I was wearing a Labatt's t-shirt, which is a beer. That's how we got into the game for free, and I guess they put me up on the big jumbotron, and they played me every Monday night football. It was just I became the Blue Zone girl, and then Playboy called me at home because my number was listed, and asked me to do Playboy. I called my mother. It was just a cover at that time, and I called my mother, and she said she would do it. So I said, okay, I'm doing it. And she goes, you need to get out of this town, darling. You know, do it for us, do it for you. Get out of here and have a wonderful life, and, you know, we're always here for you. But I guess maybe she was just encouraging me to, you know, not stay in this place that so many people, you know, when you grow up on an island, people don't leave. And when you do leave, it's like, you know, people talk.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And then, of course, I gave people plenty of material to make fun of me, no charge.
But one effect it had on you is you gained a lot of confidence during those years, right? During those weeks, months when you were starting this process, which probably also helped you take the next step into acting and so forth.
I was painfully shy,
Yeah.
if you can believe it. Very shy, and so it helped me get over my shyness. It also helped me get into a lot of trouble. And but I've had an exciting life. I don't have any regrets. You know, there's a time and a place for things that happened in your life, and I'm glad I have so much to draw from, so much I can contribute to my career now. Even this character, Shelley, I don't think I could have played her if I didn't have the life I had. So it was worth it if I can continue working and using those moments and those struggles and challenges in my work now. So I feel blessed.
All part of history and part of the process. Then, of course, the next big step catapulted you to pretty much a global phenomenon. We all know that with the role of CJ in Baywatch. What I didn't know when I did research is that the first season of Baywatch, before Pamela joined, got cancelled. A fun fact. Another fun fact that you probably know as well is that you turned down the offer to be in Baywatch, I don't know, 10, 11 times. Why was that, and how persistent were they to keep asking?
I didn't know what Marina Del Rey was. You know, that's where the audition was. And I said no, but then I went with a boyfriend, David Charvet at the time, and they end up kind of looking past him and saying, are you Pamela Anderson, the one that never shows up? And I said yes, and they said, we're writing a character for you, don't go anywhere, and we're hiring David too. That's how that happened.
And then 111 episodes, I think, from what I counted. You probably lost count. And 5 seasons later, and probably one heck of a ride. Just touching on briefly, going on set during those days, how was it just shooting? Was it just a bunch of fun? Was it tiring? Was it challenging? Did it come easy? How was it working alongside David Hasselhoff and the whole cast?
I remember my first scene on Baywatch was with David Hasselhoff, and I was playing saxophone. I played saxophone as a kid, and I didn't even know where to look. You know, the camera, and he was looking at my forehead. He wasn't even looking at my eyes and talking to me, and so I thought, I just had no idea what to do. And, you know, I was on Home Improvement before that, and that was a sitcom, so that was multi-camera, and that was different than filming. Baywatch was a single camera, so you had to learn about close-ups and, you know, and off-camera. And, you know, I was just learning as I went, but it was exciting, and I'm so glad I did Baywatch. I love everybody on that show, and I haven't seen them in a long time, but you know, we were really close, and I hope they're all doing well.
You knew probably during those days that David had a big career as a singer over here. Did you know that?
He used to give us his CD and posters for Christmas. So yes, we all knew.
You all knew. He signed it probably as well.
Yes.
You said that you haven't really spent time in Switzerland, but just one more touching on that era. Were you traveling quite a bit promotionally for the show globally? And you know, I mean, obviously the show grew into what it became, and it became, as probably most of you know, the most successful TV show during those days in history, and I think the first to air in China and whatnot. Any fond memories from those trips, or was it just all too crazy, or was it fun?
It was fun because I'd never been anywhere, you know. So I went to London for the first time, and you know, photographers were falling backwards down escalators, and I was like, "Who are they? Who are they? What do they want?" I kept thinking it was someone behind me. So it was really, you know, that was a different time when paparazzi were,
right,
you know, wild and crazy. Now everybody has social media, and there's no need really for them as they were. Before it was very invasive, and they'd jump out of bushes, and you know, you'd throw your groceries in the air, and they'd have a picture to sell. Now everyone's taking pictures of themselves in the grocery store and everything they're buying, and I don't think it's that interesting.
It is.
You know, there's no mystery left.
So after 5 seasons, then season 7 of Baywatch, you decided to quit that gig and focus on other things, movies being one of them. What other plans did you, or what? You tell yourself then better than I could. What plans did you have after Baywatch?
Well, even now I look and I think I went from Baywatch to Broadway. I don't know what really happened in between. It's a big blur. I mean, all of us here who are parents and work, you just do the best you can. But I, you know, married Tommy. I had 2 beautiful boys, and I didn't have a nanny. I raised my kids on my own. I dragged them everywhere with me. To a fault, maybe at some points. They've seen a lot in their life, you know. And you know, when certain things happened, it kind of sidetracked my acting career, and I just put it on hold. And I thought, I know my marriage didn't survive, and I went through some difficult times, and I just tried to, you know, get through it with my children and try and maintain a lifestyle in Malibu. So I ended up doing a lot of things for money that I'm not so proud of, different things that I did in TV. But I just wasn't going to be taken seriously as an actress, and I realized that okay, I'm, you know, on Dancing with the Stars, but I learned how to dance. So there's good. I took things from everything I did, but looking back at, I'm just so happy to be here at this moment, because I did kind of have a little bit of a depression over, I think, a couple decades, where I, you know, and the last few years have been wonderful. I went home, I went into my garden, you know, pickles, and, you know, I love to cook and bake and sourdough, and I have my sourdough starter named Astrid, and she's really great. I'm baking all the time, and that was really healing for me. I wrote my memoir, my son produced a documentary, and on my life, and I remember telling him, I only have one request. I don't want anything to do with this. You don't pull any punches. Do what you want. I don't even know what I've kept, and it turns out I've kept a lot. I've kept everything, and so he made the documentary, and that is how Gia saw me, and you just never know. I always knew, I guess I wanted to do something more, that I was capable of more than I did, because it's great to be a part of pop culture. It's a blessing and a curse. You know, people fall in love with you for the bathing suit, or, like, you know, I always think about the Fonz, you know, fell in love, you know, with his character, and he always talks about how it was hard to get out of that and do other roles. So it's taken a long time, but I'm here, and I have more energy than ever. I feel this is the most creative, rewarding part of my life, and I just never knew it was going to happen. You just got to keep that little fire burning in you, and just keep it going, and then one day when opportunity comes, you take it.
Never lose hope, right?
Never lose hope.
Second career, we'll get to that in just a second. You've touched on Dylan and Brandon. Just briefly, you have 2 wonderful boys. They're both on their own respective great paths. How would you describe the 2? How different are they? And tell us a little bit more about their careers and what their dreams are that they're trying to aspire to.
Well, we have businesses together. We have a skincare brand, Sansi. That's the boys' brand. We do a lot of businesses together. And Dylan is an amazing musician. Brandon's an incredible actor, and he's a producer, and he produces other things as well. So they're very ambitious, and they're very protective of me, and they have all sorts of ideas for me. It doesn't matter, even the cookbook. I have a cookbook coming out because I wrote all the recipe cards for my sons for a gift for they bought a new house with their girlfriends, and Brandon said, "This is a book, Mom." I was like, okay, it just, everything is a business, okay, and so now I have a book, a cookbook. They're wonderful. Brandon and Dylan, they're absolute opposites. Dylan, I say, is my Zen master. You know, butterflies used to land on him. He's such calm energy. And then Brandon is fire, passion, like just, you know, they're just completely different, and they're completely compatible. They don't fight. Because they're completely different. But both beautiful, big-hearted romantics, which I'm most proud of.
I definitely want to touch more on the book and several of the projects that you're working on right now, but there was one other defining moment, and that was Broadway. That was your role of Roxy in Chicago. Tell us how that project came to you and how exciting it was taking on that challenge. As we all know, being on stage actress is quite different from TV series and movies. So let's start with how it all happened and how you felt.
Well, I was at a surf contest with my sons, and I, was putting my cooler back together, and I had the surfboard over my shoulder, and the kids were wanting to get back to the car, and this man came up to me and said, Pamela, I've been watching you, and I'm a big fan of yours, and I know what you're doing. And I said, okay. And he said, I'm Rob Marshall. I don't know if you know who I am. And I was like, no, I don't know who you are. And then he followed me to the car, helped me put my surfboards in. He said, I directed the movie Chicago, and if, I think you're great. There's not a lot of vulnerability left in Hollywood. I just love what you're doing. And he saw me actually doing my rumba on Dancing with the Stars, of all things. So, you never know. You just keep on putting little things in your pocket, and you never know what these skills, come up. And so he said, have you ever thought about being on Broadway? And I just was like, yeah, who is he talking to? This is hysterical. And I said, sure. And so the next day, Barry Weissler called me. I had lunch with him. My kids were still in school. I ended up kind of getting afraid and not doing it. And so years went by. Somebody made a TV show called Pam and Tommy for Hulu. I've never seen it. I don't know anything about it. I had nothing to do with it. And Barry Weissler called me again and said, Pamela, I know you're capable of so much. I know that about you, and you are not going to go down this way. And we both agreed. He said, I want you to be my Roxy in Chicago. And I said, okay, when? Like a year? And he goes, now. Get on a plane, get to New York, we're starting. So 2 months of rehearsal, 8 weeks on Broadway. It was the best thing I ever did. I didn't know if I could sing or dance or act on stage, but I realized I can do all three together. It's like nothing, you don't think, I get chills.
Tell us a bit more about it. I mean, how is it then being on stage? And was it 8 shows a week or something like that?
8 shows a week.
I mean, that's intense,
That's
right?
intense. I did 2 months of rehearsal. I worked with a voice coach who told me I had all this range that I didn't know I had. Danced with Greg Butler, and you never know what you're capable of until you try. And I know, of course, there's tremendous actors out there who have studied and have all these things, and I've studied too. When I first came to LA, I was in an acting school with Ivana Chubbuck, who I love dearly, and then I got married and I got distracted and I went on another route to gain life experience, maybe. But then I called her when I was on Broadway, and I worked with her privately, and I was the one that was sitting in Samuel French looking at plays by Tennessee Williams and Sam Shepard. When I first got to LA, so there was something in me that was very drawn to the theater, very drawn to musicals, very drawn to movies. I love so many directors like Fellini and Godard and Herzog and Cassavetes, and these are films I watched my whole life, but you wouldn't have known that, and probably no one would have expected that. So I just took all of that, and Broadway really was the moment where, when you're on stage, you're completely free, and I don't know, I get chills even thinking about it. It's just really, it's so much hard work. I mean, halfway through the show, you're like, I can't do this, and you just keep on going, and you do it, and you just realize what you're made of, it just ticks all the boxes. It's really powerful. It was a powerful experience.
I've done a little bit of acting myself in my lifetime, and I find it's such a difficult job because that you have that element of your own security or insecurity, and in other jobs it's a little bit more measurable how well you do, and even if you're a good actor, there's still people that are gonna like you and not like you, and you're just gonna try to do your best. So yeah, I was gonna ask if it came easy after all the training you've done, but I think it's never easy,
Not
right?
really training. No, you're still backstage. I remember the first day, and you're vibrating, and you're like, okay, nerves, can't. Nerves are gonna make or break you. And you're just like, I have to climb up a ladder. I've got to sing this song. I've never done this before. My kids are in the audience. Like, it was, you just feel the fear and do it anyway. And somehow, I just kept thinking, tomorrow's gonna come. I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna have breakfast, and I'll have done that. Just kind of put yourself a couple days ahead, and you say, okay, no matter what happens, tomorrow's going to come, and I'm going to say, I did it, I screwed up, or I did a good job, or, and you can always do it better. So you got to be easy on yourself, hard on yourself, easy on, and they told me that I was the only one in the entire run of Chicago celebrities that came in, or other actors, not celebrities, I hate that word, but I would come before the show, and I would do all my dance routines on stage before I did anything. I came and ran them all a couple times before.
That's interesting. And then I assume you caught the Broadway bug. Is there more to come? Are you excited to do more?
Well, I loved it. First of all, it was so wonderful to do Fosse, to learn Fosse moves, which are so crazy and weird and fun. Here, my baby and me. I love that. It was. I think. They asked me to come back and do an encore when my documentary came out, but I've been working. But I really loved that just dark stage, that black. There's no props. There's nothing really in a Fosse in Chicago. I would love to go do it again, but I would love to do any theater. We'll see.
Well, it seems like one project led to another, so I'm sure it's going to turn into a snowball effect, hopefully for you. Briefly touching on the documentary and the memoirs, which I understand was kind of done simultaneously, or at least released simultaneously. When I watched it for the first time before I knew I was going to interview you a while back, and enjoyed watching it because I thought it was so authentic and raw and real, and of course also growing up watching you on TV and all that kind of stuff. And then when I heard that I was going to interview you, I was like, oh, there's going to be so much to talk about. And then when I watched it back yesterday, and then for some reason I watched it from a whole different point of view, right? Because trying to put myself in your shoes and understand your life a bit better. And I felt, I don't know if I felt that right, but I felt the pain that you went through in opening up some of those boxes again and going back, which it seemed you haven't done in such a long time. So clearly, I was not going to do that with you today, but what made you go through that process? And by doing so, was it in any way therapeutic? Was it important to do so?
Well, I moved home to face some things. I mean, I would go walk down to my childhood home. It's not there anymore. There's another house there, but I would sit kind of far enough away and just sit there, go for a hike and look at it and try and really go back to, things that had happened in my childhood, or things that, I wanted to picture my family, and I could smell the house, I could smell the cigarettes and the alcohol, and I just really felt it was important to look at that. And then I realized too that a lot of what has happened to me gave me the impetus to do the choices that I had. So I could see that I was just trying to get my power back. If it was Playboy, if it was different types of roles, I wanted to have the power over my body and my and I think that's why this. So anyway, I went back home. I bought the house of my grandmother. I renovated it. I redid it similar to her, but I put a huge garden in it. I just repainted my life. I rewrote my life, and that was part of it. My son said, "Mom, I really want to make this documentary about you because nobody knows you, and you can stay in your garden and make pickles and do whatever you want, and I just want to make sure that maybe one of the last things people see of you, they'll understand you a little bit better. I don't want people to think of you in the way that they do." So that's how that started. And he said, and I want you to write your memoirs. I love to write. I'm a writer. I'm an annoying writer. I'm always writing people long, lengthy emails. And so even my son Dylan said, well, how about a newsletter? Just anything to get you off of us. You know, stop sending us these long, you know, philosophical, profound like, quotes from different artists. And he said, can you do it somewhere else? So, yeah. So anyway, that was therapeutic. It was. I started my book by my first memory, my second memory, my 10th memory, and I kind of just started putting my memories together and then going back and kind of plugging stuff in, and then presented it to my publisher, and she said, you don't need a collaborator. You're going to write this book yourself. I will help you. She's an editor. And so I wrote the book myself. I was not using a ghostwriter or a collaborator. And I was writing it between Broadway shows, finishing it up, finalizing it. It was quite a busy time.
Reflecting on, yes.
Oh.
I mean, again, you didn't have to do it. So, yeah, I think all of us who've watched this just resonate with what you've went through, and of course gives us a chance to understand all that past a little bit better. Would you say also that journey with this documentary helped you shape kind of the journey you're on now? I mean, obviously it did, but just reflecting on everything, reflect on yourself and who you are, and maybe the good things you've done and some of the bad things you've done must have affected your choices you're making now with your new career, I assume.
Yes, and I take full responsibility for all my, choices. And like I said, I didn't have anything to do with the documentary. I just put full trust in Ryan White, the director, and Brandon, the producer. And I was really happy. And then Netflix came on board, and they, everyone loved it. They wanted me to screen it with Dylan, of all people. So I sat down with Dylan and we were screening it, and I just remember covering Dylan's eyes for most of it and just kind of looking through my finger. I couldn't even really watch it. It was really emotional for me to watch. So I haven't seen it, from start to finish. I've seen little tiny bits. And with the book. So, and we started the documentary before I got Broadway, before Barry called. So that just was a happy accident that that's included in the documentary. And that's when Gia saw the documentary. I did The Last Showgirl. I've just finished a movie with Liam Neeson, Naked Gun, comedy.
Yeah.
And I'm doing Rosebush Pruning right now with Kareem Anouz, who is it's very exciting in Barcelona. And I just left 3 weeks of rehearsal, and incredible. The other actors on the movie said, this doesn't happen. We don't get to rehearse the entire movie before we shoot the movie. And I was like, wow, I'm getting all these incredible experiences. We rehearsed every single scene in the movie before we started shooting. We also did a lot of improv in character and had family dinners in character and had interviews in character. I mean, really exciting. Kareem is unbelievable, and he's so exciting the way he goes, action! He's just incredible to be around. And so anyway, I've left them to film the film, and I go back and finish at the end of October because I have all these festivals and
a lot to do.
A cookbook tour of all things, and I have to get back and finish the film, which is a very heavy film.
We'll get to those films in just a second, because Naked Gun, who's a Naked Gun fan from the past? I remember laughing so hard. It was so good, so I can't wait to laugh again and talk about it in a sec. But yeah, let's talk first about The Last Showgirl. Of course, that's what we all came here for as well, to witness that film. And as you just said, right, I mean, it was also, again, the documentary that led you to Gia. Tell us about how the entire project came about, including Kate, right? Kate, I think, wrote the play and then the script. And Gia and her then found you and put it all together. Tell us about how that all went down.
Well, Kate is a cousin of Gia, and she wrote this play about showgirls. I think it'd be an incredible musical or play. But then they made it into a screenplay, and Gia, I was always wanted to do a movie in Las Vegas. I think Las Vegas it draws everybody to it. It's, even from a distance, I'd rather see a movie about it than go to Vegas sometimes.
I agree. And
then I didn't have real representation at the time. I'd already moved back home, and I had somebody, but they sent the script to my old representation, and they turned it down in 5 minutes. Like within the hour, they turned it down. So I didn't even hear about it until my son went to the this old agency by chance, saw the script, a Coppola script, and said, "What is this?" And he said, "Oh, that's for your mom. She's never going to want to do that. It's no money. It's nothing. It's no one's ever going to see a movie like that." And my son said, "Give me that script, and you have to show my mom. You have to show if something is for her." So anyway, he brought it to me, and when I read the script, I felt like it's life or death. I have to do this. I have to do this movie. Everything in it. I could hear the voice in my head already, and I remember calling Gia and going, "Are you sure you want me to do this? I mean, I have to do this." And she goes, "Oh, no, I want you to do it." And I go, "No, but I really want to do it." She goes, "No, I want you to do it." It was the funniest conversation. I was, just telling her that I am, no one else could play this but me. Of course, other people could play it but me. But I just was, in my overalls, with my straw hat on, thinking, "Get me out of here. Let's do this." It was so exciting, and I just was so drawn to it, and so excited to go spend all this time in Las Vegas. I met with a lot of showgirls from that era, and had dinners at my house with them, and talked stories, and it was exciting. Just how it all just stars aligned. You never know, and it was a funny Zoom call from Ladysmith, this little tiny town of Vancouver Island, with Gia about the film.
Wow. I don't know about you guys, but I just got goosebumps listening to that. And how is you're lighting up, right? We talk about the past, it's like, yeah, this is that. Now you have this new project. We can see the eyes light up and the passion, and we're so happy for you. I would like to dive a little bit deeper. Tell us about this preparation with the Showgirls, because that seems like a very interesting part of the preparation, because of course it is about former showgirl, and showgirls are iconic performers in Vegas, and what did you learn from them, and how did that work into the role of Shelley?
Well, there's a lot of people, they take their craft very seriously. It's an art form, and it should be respected. And they are very, very, there's a certain way to walk, there's a certain way to put the clothing on. Even we had to have dressers that had done it before, because there's a choreography when you're doing quick changes backstage, and you have 80 pounds of these huge headdresses, and what comes off first, what comes off. There's a whole choreography going on with the costumes. So that was interesting too, with the long monologues and the dialogue and the mirrors and the dressing room and cramped spaces. That was a real wonderful and exciting and crazy part of the filmmaking. But to prepare, I did a lot of preparation. I treated this like a play, because I knew we were only going to have 18 days to shoot the film. So I was prepared 100%. Obviously I knew the dialogue, I knew everything before I stepped foot in Las Vegas. And then started working with, I have an acting teacher too that I work with, Ivana, and she was really wonderful. And we, obviously, a lot of my life experience, all my life experience went into this role. And, with, substitutions or whatever we want to call it, all these different techniques. And it was therapy. But I really felt immersed in the character, and we didn't have really a day off. When there was a day off, we were doing dance rehearsals, and we had to rehearse too with the costumes and the headdresses on. And just usually when a showgirl is dancing, they only have the headdresses on for a few minutes, really. And we had them on all day, so we're leaning against the wall, holding them on, and we didn't use a lot of the chin straps because it looked better without it. So you really had to, and you had to walk downstairs and not looking, and you had these massive headdresses on. There was a lot of preparation. And I think because it was shot on film as well, there was this urgency, and the stakes were higher. So you had to give it your all, because you're only going to get a couple shots. You're not going to get 20 takes like when you're dealing with the new way of doing things. So all of that just made this magical experience. And obviously I was terrified to meet Jamie Lee Curtis. Terrified.
I can imagine.
I was shaking. She showed up to the table read in her spray tan, and as she was talking to me, she was getting darker and darker and darker. And the wig and everything, and the white lipstick, and I was like, I get chills now too, thinking, okay. She's like, it's gonna be okay. I'm like, ah. And so we got through the table read, and that kind of was, ripping the Band-Aid off. And that was, after that, I felt a lot better. And now I feel like I've known her my whole life. I mean, she's wonderful. She just grabs you by the shoulders and looks you deep in the eyes, and she's like, we got this, girl. We got this.
See, that's the difference between Jamie Lee and David Hasselhoff. He looks at the forehead. She looks in the eyes.
Yes, that's a good one.
Sorry, David.
Oh my
Sorry,
God, no, but
any
it's so
David
true.
friends here.
That's
No
true.
disrespect to
No,
David.
it's great. No, but yeah, it's a totally different approach. It's different. But everybody was so great on the movie. The cast
Yes.
was fantastic. I mean, Dave Bautista. I never saw Dave Bautista out of the wig until the premiere in TIFF. I was like,
I didn't even
where's your
recognize it
hair?
was him. I was like, oh, what a great actor. I looked him up. I was like, this is Dave Bautista. This
Yeah.
is crazy.
So sensitive and sweet and great.
I wanna talk about your co actresses and actors in just a second. But one follow-up question, which I thought was very interesting, because I've never heard of it, substitution. So when I don't know if any of you act, but when you're in the beginning, you same thing, right? You go to this school or that school, and you learn that technique or this technique. In my case, it was method acting. In the end of the day, you then realize you have to develop your own technique. What is substitutions? How does that work? And I guess working closely with your acting coach, how would you describe, not to say that it has to be just one thing for the future, but how would you describe what works for you?
I would call it method acting. And
Okay.
Boleslavsky, I've read
Okay.
the 6 lessons over and over and over again. I keep reading that. And Ivana Chubbuck has this great book, The Power of the Actor. And, there's all the way you break down a script and everything, but also when I think what really helps me is just substituting those characters. If someone's, love interest in your life, it's someone that you know, or your children, or the past, your parents, or people that have hurt you, anything that can be helpful. And you can use all that. I threw my entire mixed bag of life into this film and in this character. And what I was so surprised with is I'd never seen the film until TIFF, until Toronto, because Gia wanted us to watch it on the big screen with an audience first. I didn't recognize that person up there, which was great, because I was thinking, oh gosh, I transformed. That was my intention. And my head was against the wall when other people were talking behind the scenes. I was like in the corner, just focusing, keeping all my work and my inner work and things that I had done and things that I wanted to portray, because I thought, this might be my only chance. I may never do another movie. I need to do this. I know what to do. And I would just be running over in the corner, like hiding, and just when they got to this action, I was there. I was in it the entire film, and so I was really happy to see that. Very pleased to see that. And there was even a time where I do have the breakdown scene. There's a scene where I come in and I rip my costumes all up. I remember just walking up to Gia and go, "I'm ready," and she's like, "We don't even have the cameras." I said, "I'm ready. We got to do this now." And so they slowly got very quiet, and they got all the cameras together and put everything in. And they had to go get the other actresses out of their dressing room. They were on their phones doing something. And so when I started going in there, they ran and got the actors, and they were just super quiet, and they kept the cameras rolling until the scene was done, and it was one take.
Wow.
Yeah. That was amazing for Gia and Autumn.
You couldn't do this every day, though, right? You would mess up the whole shooting schedule, probably.
No,
that-
we were going to do the scene.
Oh, you were going to do. Okay,
We were going
you
to do
just-
that scene
okay,
next.
okay,
That was the scene that was happening. I just
you were
kind of
just
walked
ready
onto
in
the
the-
set early or something, and I was like, "Oh no, I got to do this now." And they just got it all together, and that was so wonderful about this really kind of connected crew. And Autumn, wonderful cinematographer, and Gia, they just got really quiet and got the camera, and we shot that, and it was great, and it felt so good. It felt good to get that out. I needed to.
It's as you guys saw, it's obviously it feels like an on and off camera family, this ensemble of cast members. Tell us how that bond came about. Is this something you just start working and it just happens as you go along, or was there like a moment? I think there was one of the first scenes was one of the scenes where everyone was together. I heard that was a bit of a moment, but maybe you can explain yourself.
Well, before we started, I had everybody over at my house. I love to cook, and so I gave everyone jobs. Everyone was chopping vegetables, and Brenda and Kieran were talking a million miles a minute because they're young, and that's what they do. And it was really, we had some good family connections. I used to buy people like socks and like beanies. I was like mother to everybody because it was cold in Las Vegas at that time. And I was making, dog cookies for people's, you know, because I make homemade dog cookies all the time, and I've made them for people's pets, and it's just kind of this bonding thing, and you only have this short time together, but we connected really fast, and that first scene was all of us at the table, and after that scene, we just were like, we're like a family.
Nice. Kiernan Shipka and Brenda Song are the other two wonderful co-actresses that play different sort of generations of showgirls. I have a few questions there, but the first is, I loved how they said it was inspiring to work with you, not just because of your, you know, the dedication you put in and the vulnerability and all that, but also they said you just brought that good energy to set on a daily basis. How is Pamela on set these days during the Showgirl? Is it just something where you're just having fun when the cameras are off, or are you just in your zone preparing for the next?
I'm focused, but I'm also in the zone with them, and yeah, it was great. I mean, I'm always annoyingly early and always, you know, prepared, and so that was great, and they are too. But they have a lot of fun between scenes, you know. And I found that too on Broadway. People were watching soap operas and baseball games and talking about what they're going to have for lunch and where they're going for dinner, and then they'd hear their cue and just disappear and be that character on stage. After doing it for 18 years, you know, they just become so, you know, natural. And I still was like, oh my God, I don't even know what I can't forget my lines. Yeah, it was an interesting experience. But anyway, with the girls, they were really wonderful, and they're both child actors. They've been doing this their entire lives, and they just, it's in them, you know, so easily, like it's just natural, and they've been doing this so long, even though they're so young. And what I found was interesting that they brought so much to their characters, because we were all experiencing the closing of a show that we loved in our 20s, in our 30s, in our 50s, and, you know, Jamie Lee Curtis was already long gone from the show. So to see the generations of women facing their dreams kind of collapsing at different times in their life. It was, I think, you know, looking at it now, it's really interesting to see that.
Yeah, the film touches on a lot of interesting and current subjects. One thing about the generational part, do you feel the entertainment industry compared to the old days has improved in some ways, or has it also, you know, gone the other way? I know you haven't done that many projects now in recent years, but it's hopefully coming. But just generally speaking, looking at the younger generation and talking to them, is it easier or harder, let's say, as a female actress, or? Well,
I found, like, obviously in the past, the beautiful black and white films, and everyone was very lit and beautiful, and it was film, and even an older person looked very young and a lot of makeup. And I find that because, and we shot this on film, but I mean in general, with all this HD kind of, you know, digital photography, it's just a different time. So I think women are just kind of interesting looking at different ages. Like, there's not any amount of makeup you can put on to look different in front of a digital camera. So this has been my experiment, where I just said, okay, just peel it all back. Let's just start there. And so with the girls, I mean, just even the girls were having a hard time. They didn't want to take their makeup off. They wanted to do a no makeup, no makeup look. And Gia was like, well, Pamela's not wearing any makeup, like, for real. And they're like, well, no contour, no anything, no lip gloss, nothing, nope. So I just found that it was, what's wrong with a bare face? You know, what's wrong with a bare face? And I thought, we did some screen tests too, and Gia was really happy with it. But I'm sorry, I'm probably not answering your question. I went off on a tangent.
No. We're just having a conversation.
But I just feel like, yeah, the girls.
No, you did.
And I feel like it was really important for me to do, because I really wanted people to see me. I didn't want, and then the character, I thought this is the perfect opportunity to do that, to just take it all away and not have any of the, you know, I don't know, I think walking around with a bare face is an intimate, kind gesture. It's vulnerable. It's with all this social media and, you know, the filters and stuff, everything, I think young girls are looking at their Instagram photos and themselves in the mirror and dealing with disappointment when they look great, you know. So I thought, well, okay, I'm just going to use myself as an experiment.
We have a little bit more time to go, and you said your career starts now, which we're very excited about all the other new projects that are in the pipeline. You've already touched on a few. Tell us a bit more about, so we've talked about Naked Gun, the film, so you've already wrapped the one in Barcelona. No,
No, I've only done the rehearsal.
On the rehearsal.
I haven't even
okay.
shot anything yet.
Oh,
I have to
okay,
go
okay.
back and do that.
You're going, is that your next stop, or?
At the end of the month, yes, because I still have lots of festivals. I have a book tour,
Okay.
and I think, I just want to get back to Barcelona. But I also am very, very, very proud to promote this film, of course. So I'm keeping a little part of my brain is still in Barcelona.
Tell us about
the
that
character.
film. What can you share about it?
I don't know how much I can really share about it, but it's an ensemble cast. It's a interesting, it's a Kareem, and if you're familiar with his work, it's going to be, there's no way I could describe it, so.
We'll just,
Yeah.
we'll be surprised very soon. Tell us about, Naked Gun, do we know when you guys are going to start shooting that and when it'll be released?
No, I've already shot it.
Oh, you already shot? No, Naked Gun is shot.
I've already shot
oh,
Naked
okay, I
Gun,
got that right.
and
Okay.
it comes out August 1st.
Oh,
It's a summer film.
Okay.
It already has a release date.
oh, that is so cool.
That's going to be
Awesome.
fun.
yes.
Liam's hysterical.
Seth MacFarlane is producing it, right?
Yes.
Of creator of Family Guy, so that's
Paramount. Yeah.
That's going to be a sure thing, funny film. I Love You by Pamela Anderson, Recipes from the Heart, is the cookbook that you've already touched on. You're vegan?
Yes.
Yes. So I assume vegan recipes?
I didn't want to call it a vegan cookbook because I
Okay.
didn't want it to get smashed into the vegan section and people. I didn't want it to be like that. It's basically a celebration of vegetables in my garden and learning as I went and just all my life experience in the world and loving things. Like there's so many things now that I want to make that I just saw in Barcelona, but vegan. And so it's hopefully people enjoy it. And then I have my little ramblings and things in it. And my kids' favorite, they're in the book. Their girlfriends are in the book. And like I said, it started out as a recipe card box, and so I had to, it's crazy writing a cookbook. I have my recipes, then you have to get recipe testers and professional people involved and recipe writers. It took a couple years. And everything just happening at once.
And yes, it's going to be released October 24th?
October 15th.
October 15th, sorry. The web was not as accurate as Pamela,
I could be wrong, things change.
No. I just tried to research it online. I always like to ask this question because I love to cook as well. Don't misunderstand this question, and you neither. I always ask people, if you had one meal to go in life, what would you eat or what would you cook? Let's maybe ask, what would you cook? What's like that one meal, that one last meal that you would...
One last meal?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
okay.
Okay, well then I don't have to worry about calories. So I'm going with pierogies.
What's your favorite meal that
I
you
love
would like
making
to...
pierogies, and I found that I think when you cook together, you find out a lot about somebody. And I remember a friend of mine had a daughter who was going through a hard time, and I said, have her come over, we're making pierogies. And she opened her heart to me as we're, making the dough and filling the things, and it's a long process, and putting them on cookie sheets, freezing them, boiling them, eating them together. And I thought, wow, that is really interesting that she was able to open up to me and tell me some things that she wasn't able to tell other people. And it was really a healing experience for her. So when I think about pierogies, I think about, I think about that moment. And so now I make these crazy, first of all, my family's always trying to outdo each other when it comes to pierogies. And, they're not vegan. So I had aunts and everybody has tested mine. I make these mint and pea pierogies, which is really good. And I'm very proud of them. So I'm going to make them, I think, on a show coming up.
I'm going to embarrass myself. Pierogies are cookies?
No,
or?
pierogies are what? They're not
Do you all know pierogies?
How do you not know what a pierogi is? A pierogi is a dumpling, like a dumpling. So it's like you make the dough, you fill up the little things, you boil them, you fry
how do
them,
we call
with
that in
potato.
German?
Also pierogi.
Okay, I never had that. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, well you haven't lived, come on.
Under
Get
a
your-
stone, clearly
Okay, well I
under
have
a
to send you
rock.
my book.
Under a rock.
I mean,
Yes, please send me the book. I'll definitely, on a serious note, we'll try
pastry,
some of the dishes.
potato wrapped in pastry, it's just the best thing in the world.
What's for Christmas? What do you cook for Christmas for your
Many
boys?
things, many things.
love it.
All sorts of things. I don't know, lots of sweet potato, and I make this. It's like a Wellington, but it has a lot of mushrooms in it. But it's not with beef.
Meat. Okay, love it. Let's quickly talk about Sonsi Skin. Did I pronounce that right? That's the project you have with your sons?
Yes, it's a skincare, sustainable skincare brand, recyclable packaging, the whole thing. It's really wonderful because my sons used to always make fun of me, and everybody that I worked with used to make fun of me when, like 20 years ago, when I wanted sustainable packaging, cruelty-free products, and I was a big animal activist too. People thought I was crazy, annoying, all those things. And now it's in fashion, so I'm really happy. And my kids are now like, Mom, that's not vegan, or that's not cruelty-free. I'm like, geez, how you guys know more than me? So they're into it, which is really nice. So Sonsi Skincare is cruelty-free, sustainable, and all these wonderful things. And it's what I use. It's the only makeup I use is Sonsi.
And where is it available, or how is it available?
Online. Online only. We just came up with a new product, a cleanser. So it's like a lip balm, a mask, a cleanser, and a serum. That's all you need. And you can walk out the door.
You ship worldwide?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Switzerland as well, then.
Sorry, it's like an advertisement.
No, that was me. I was not,
okay.
Nothing, any of my questions were not, I was not forced. We haven't really talked about your activism. Of course, most of it is also known to the public of what you've done in the past. Are there any causes that you are pursuing at the moment or for the future? I know you're passionate about it. It's a lifelong journey, but anything that you still want to advocate for?
There's many things, but the reason I got involved, back in the Baywatch days, I felt like I was getting so much attention for silly things, and I wanted to share the attention with something more meaningful. And I traveled a lot, and I kept on finding out what were the animal issues in each country. And then I would meet with world leaders, and I even spoke at the Kremlin. I've spoken at many places about, capturing animals and using them for entertainment. That feels like a whole lifetime ago. And now I feel like the best way for me to be effective is to be more of a gentle, more of a romantic activist. I'm not the poster girl for these causes, but I support activists and their families, and I try and handle it in a gentler way. And also, I'm like doing Sonsi, doing a vegan cookbook. I prefer doing those types of things, and I'm so happy that I get to do that now.
One more question about the future. Of course, we don't know what it holds, but now that you have, and hopefully will have even more opportunities due to the great performance that you've given in The Last Showgirl, it's usually a generic question I don't like to ask, but I think in your case now with the restart of a career, are there certain types of movies and genres and just things that you would love to do now with this newfound opportunity, or you just let it come to you?
I just need to let it happen. I don't know. I didn't know what to expect with how this movie was going to be received even. I'm still in a surreal kind of shock of how it's being received. So, of course, I want to do everything. I love comedy too, so Naked Gun is a completely different movie and a completely different thing. But I love, the dramatic roles and theater, and I would love to just keep on working and keep on finding. I just want to know what I'm made of. I feel like I want to reach my potential, and I know I work harder than anybody I know. I'm a hard worker, and I'd love to be challenged. I even told Kareem, like, when I get there, I want you to challenge me. I want you to scare me. I want to I want to find that character. I want to find it, and I want to find roles that are really challenging like that. So I don't know, because why not? Then I feel like life is short, and especially at this point in my career and my life and my age, I don't have a lot. Not that I don't have a lot of time, but there's never enough time. So why not just go for it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What a great way to sum this up. I should end on that tagline, but I have one more question. Could you see yourself putting a project together, maybe even your sons, and going through the whole process of financing it and finding a story and creating the script and all that?
People have asked me, what do I want to do next? If there's anything I have any interest in, we could put together a project. But this is a whole new world, and I know how hard it is to put a movie together. You just have to ask Gia. It's hard to make movies. And so I don't expect to just throw something together and be able to do it. So we'll see. I mean, right now I'm in a huge promotional tour for Showgirl. Then I'll go and promote Naked Gun, and then hopefully, Kareem's film and different festivals and things for that. I don't really know what's next, but I mean, that's the best place to be, is when you really, you living in the mystery of what's next. And I feel like it's such a, and being okay with that. So I have no plans.
Amazing. Well, I think I speak for all of us when I say thank you for coming to Zurich, bringing that film. Also, thank you for taking the time to talk to me and talk to us and opening up. And I think we all just root for you. We're happy for you. We're excited for you. And we're hopefully going to have you back very soon at the Zurich Film Festival with another film.
Thank
So
you
big
so
round of
much.
applause, everyone,
Thank
for
you.
Pamela Anderson. Thank you. Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you.
Thank you.